With all this back and forth nowadays with Biden and Trump over this crypto war surrounding the digital distraction known as Bitcoin, I think people are really underestimating and forgetting how undervalued silver really is. And because of that, I'll never get tired of talking about it. And despite the recent pullback, many experts believe that due to commercial bank being heavily short and unable to manipulate the market as before, silver is crucial for various industries, yet it's massively underpriced compared to gold. And if this chart here don't get you excited, I don't know what will, because it says that silver has a lot of room to catch up to current gold activity. And so with a supply-demand imbalance, ongoing structural deficits, and strategic importance in technology and defense, the potential for silver's price to skyrocket is getting even more exciting. So as a stacker, is there such thing as having too much silver? I'll let you be the judge of that. Let's talk about that. All right, so I wanted to take a quick minute, share some thoughts, especially following my interview with Koa de Silva the other day in reference to the commodities priced in gold terms and the clear distinction as to how pricing in US dollars can be very deceiving. And so as a result of that, I had a lot of thoughts that I wanted to share with you, as well as just share with you some things that I think is worth paying attention to, given that at this current moment, there's so much noise out here, and in particular surrounding the recent crypto war between Biden and Trump, all surrounding the Bitcoin narrative that, anybody who has been paying attention for any length of time can clearly see this is a part of a much greater and bigger plan. And it becomes easier over time to forget about the true essence of what money has been and what money could be for either you individually or for our nation once again, depending on how this road pays out. But anyway, people are really taking for granted the opportunity, I believe, to really dive deeper into what silver has not yet to do, and as far as its performance in USD terms. And so based upon some graphs I want to share with you guys here, I really want to highlight how, don't get discouraged. Even though silver has nowhere near reached its all-time high, it's just a matter of time. And then that leads me to want to spend more time on this just because I believe it is extremely important, not only from a strategic standpoint, as far as having enough, whatever that word means to you personally, but also being in a position where you can continue to stack, educate others, and be able to help them by also formulating some type of allocation for their wealth preservation strategies as well. And so if you guys enjoy these short, quick takes, definitely hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you hit the bell notification or the Rumble check mark, depending on where you're watching from, so that when I go live or I put up these little quick takes, you'll be notified so you can always plug in. And of course, if you find value here, please share this so more people can find out what's going on from an alternative perspective as to what they will not hear from mainstream media. And then once again, for those who may be new, my name is Mike, the host of Rethinking a Dollar. And my whole goal with this channel here is to basically educate people from what I call monetary literacy, or what we were not taught in school, in a simplified and practical way that allow people to realize what's really going on beyond these binary ones and zeros on computer screens or the distributed ledger technology that everyone seems to be so excited about. But the bottom line is silver remains significantly undervalued. The latest price pullback, with what we've witnessed over the last 5 days here, is very small in comparison to the grander picture. For the last couple of days, when we were around that $30 mark or more or higher, the thought at that time was, could they slam it below 30? So clearly they have been able to. But then again, as I always say, take advantage of the manipulation because it can be your friend as far as allowing you more time to accumulate or position yourself even more. But a lot of people think that the recent price pullback may have been influenced by commercial banks with substantial short positions because they've been feeling the heat. Some analysts out there, like the Andy Shackmans, the Mike Olivers, and the people who've dedicated their entire lives to this space, believe that this could be the signal for the end of the market manipulation by the banks. It appears to be a classic case of the boy cried wolf, or the boy who cried wolf, and eventually the wolf will arrive at some point. So I think one of the biggest things is that the supply and demand imbalance is very apparent. Despite its crucial role in various industries compared to gold, yet it's priced closer to 80 to 1. So this discrepancy, combined with structural deficits and its essential use in technology and military applications, suggests that silver's true value is far higher than its current market price. And then that takes me to my discussion with Koa de Silva the other day in reference to pricing things in gold terms instead of USD terms. And this is where things look completely different. And so this is a chart that he put together that I wanted to use to really highlight my case as to how pricing things in dollar terms at the same time the dollar's on its way out the door, in reference to it being a global standard or a global measuring stick. You can see from this graph here, there's a big difference as far as the room that silver has to catch up if we were to go back to the 1960s. So looking at this chart here, if you go to the far left of the screen, Koa started pricing an ounce of silver in gold terms at 1960 on the dot. And that was during a time when gold was pegged at $35 an ounce and silver was fluctuating around $1 or so, given the fact that it just came off the 1964 Coinage Act when the Treasury decided to move silver from our dimes and quarters. And so one thing that clearly stands out here is you see the current peaks, which here was in 1968. And if you look at the bottom of the screen here, it says the ratio peak at 1968 when you value 1 ounce of silver compared to 1 ounce of gold, it was at 0.0589. And as the gold to silver ratio began to widen out, as well as gold and silver taking on new labels as commodities rather than money, we see that silver became extremely underpriced as it began to go down in ratio terms all throughout the 60s, and for the most part flatline from 1989 up until this current moment right here in 2024. And so at this current moment, if you were to use the same metrics where gold is a measuring stick, silver price in gold is 0.012%. So that basically means that silver has 5 times more room to go higher in value relative to gold if we were to go back to the old measuring standards where gold was the measuring point. And so at today's price of $29.55 times 5, that puts us exactly where the USDebtClock.org has the dollar to silver ratio at this current moment at approximately $162 per ounce. And so what does that mean? If the manipulation ended today at the bare minimum to get back to 1968 levels of parity between 1 ounce of gold and 1 ounce of silver, we need to be somewhere well beyond 150. And as the chart said here, 162, just to have the same level of valuation measured in gold. And that's not to mention the fact that we know that some banking events going to occur. The dollar will be tanked, and then they're going to cut on the water spigot and flood the world with dollars. And of course, eventually, every dollar that's printed or created electronically will be accounted for. So therefore, silver can definitely shoot up to probably 1,000 or whatever. And for the average person, what does that mean? It basically means it allows you to retain some of your current purchasing powers rather than being siphoned or stolen away if you were only holding Federal Reserve note, aka US dollars. So at the end of the day, the commercial banks' heavily short positions indicate that they've attempted to control the silver prices even more. But as global demand grows, particularly from the Eastern markets, referring to the Shanghai Futures Exchange as well as their spot market there, these manipulations can't last forever. The shift of physical metal from the west to the east is real, and the suppression of silver prices is likely a strategy by these same banks to stockpile the metal prices before the big surge. So overall, silver is not just an industrial metal anymore. Clearly, the Eastern Hemisphere has plans for it along with gold. I'm sure we wouldn't be hearing all this de-dollarization talk, as well as the threat of alternative payment systems being brought up, if strategic metals such as gold and silver weren't a part of somebody's plans. Now, how it all plays out, we don't know. But the most important thing is to be positioned ahead of all the chaos so that you can do 2 things. Benefit from the manipulation and preserve your financial futures as best as you can while things are still relatively calm. So at the end of the day, the ongoing price suppression is an attempt to mask the true value, which is bound to skyrocket when market forces eventually correct these distortions I'm talking about. So continue to invest in silver now and not solely be lured and chasing digital blips on the screen, in my opinion, is a very wise thing to do before prices reflect its actual value or worth, if we were to use gold and not just USD fiat terms. And so at the end of the day, the whole point of doing this video is to really encourage and remind people the importance of not waiting for any presidential candidate to set the narrative of what interests them or what they think the people want to hear, such as Bitcoin and crypto in America, all that stuff like that, but more so focusing on your personal silver standard, of which everyone in the community should have a game plan at work right now while the price is still affordable and silver is still obtainable. And so my role as an educator, someone who takes great pleasure in being able to help people understand these complicated things somewhat, is to always figure out ways to reach more people as well as to help people get physical in a world that's trying to take us solely digital. So right now I'm working on what I consider like a personal silver standard quick guide or something like that. And so put together some concepts so that I can get it to the average Joe out there, someone who may not be a part of the community, but then again, might be a family or friend to you where you can share this information with them so they can understand what's going on and have a chance. That's all it is. Giving people a chance before it becomes obvious where they should have been. And so in this guide I'm putting together, I'm basically focusing on what I consider 5 steps to solidifying your own personal silver standard, as I'm referring it to. And of course, as I develop this more, I'll have a book and everything ready for you guys. But number 1 is understanding the market, defining your investment goals with your weight and things like that. That's just a way to get started. And then 2 is how you go about actually acquiring your physical silver, whether it be from dealers, coin shops, online, different marketplaces, barter, you name it, as well as having something planned out for the type of weight you want, whether you go fractional, whether you go bricks, you name it. Those are all things worth considering. And then 3rd, how to secure your stash when you have it, whether you use it a safe at home or depository somewhere else. These are things worth really talking about, considering. The 4th step is how to diversify and how to monitor your stack as you continue to add to it. That goes on to diversifying your stack, whether you prefer rounds or bullion itself. And if you decide to allocate in and out based upon deals or sales or the gold to silver ratio change, you try to allocate in and out of some things. And then the last step and the final step is actually trying to get to the point where you can use silver as a financial instrument, whether it be through bartering, where you can borrow against it, and trying to establish communities where people can actually trade amongst themselves using physical weight. And of course, a couple other things as well that I'll get to later on. But those 5 things there are really what I'm focusing on to help people understand how to put together their own personal silver standard. Because I'm not waiting on Trump or Biden to come together with any type of plan for the people, because we know at this point of the game, it's too late. And last, what I'm most excited about is my desire to continue to help people actually get their weight up physically. And so we've done the gold program in the past. And so now I'm looking to do the silver program, where my desire is to try to help at least 1,000 households set up what I consider to be an automated silver stacking strategy, where you can set up your silver to ride monthly and not even worry about it and go about your life, continue to do what you do, but always know that you're working towards your financial future because you have something that's automatically working on the back end that arrives to your doorstep when you want it, so that you can dollar cost average into a greater position of silver. And then that plays into the RTD Silver Team. And so as you can see on the screen here, here's a little short video describing more and explaining more of this team I'm looking to put together, of a minimum of 1,000 households, people recognize and take an opportunity to continue to add to their stack amongst all this craziness, not be distracted by the digital stuff, which is going to be there, but continue to get physical at a time where it's not pretty, it's not sexy, but to do it in a way where it's automatic. And so click the link in the description, find out more for yourself. Let me know if you want to be a part of that team, and you get all the instructions from the video itself. But ultimately it boils down to, first, diving into the quick silver program to understand how it works and its benefits. Next is deciding how much you want to allocate to silver each month. And then last, share the opportunity that you'll be a part of with others who also need to protect and preserve their financial futures as well. And so at the end of the day, you're responsible for your own financial future. Nobody in DC, damn sure nobody on Wall Street. So what you don't do for yourself won't be done. And so I'd love for you guys to continue to support the channel as well as the community, and to consider becoming a member of the RTD Silver Team, where we can try to impact households one at a time. Other than that, curious to hear your thoughts. If you found value here, hit that thumbs up button. Take this video and share it with your family and friends so they'll at least know what's out there and what's available for them. So other than that, I'll catch you guys later.